Hello there, outliers. Niiamah here, and thank you so much for letting us be a part of your journey today. It feels good. It feels good to be behind the mic and to spend some time here, actually just in conversation once again. And what we do here on the Outliers Edge podcast is that we go out and we find people who are living a truly trailblazing life, and bring and see how they're continuing to walk their own path in the world. Not to say that you should walk that path, but to give you more space to do yours, to help you see ideas and different things from new perspectives or from different perspectives, and really just to build back in that element of self-trust because you've gotten here because of who you are. Now let's just keep doing that on purpose. So today we have an incredible trailblazer that's here to join with us here. Adaure, I'm really glad that you are spending the time with us. Thank you for making this a part of your day.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, let's get in. Let's give outliers a chance to get to know you. Would you mind sharing more about you and the game that you're currently playing?
So for me, I'm just basically here in this world really to give what I can in any way I can. Um for me, that's part of this overdeveloping brand of focusing on mental health and self-care and just doing it in my own way. Um I know that my path is definitely not like as straightforward as everybody else's, but it's the path that's ended up making me as happy as can be. And I continue to grow and learn and, impact lives in a positive way because of it. So I wouldn't change it for the world.
Adore, like I don't know, I'm sure that they could hear it, but it was awesome also seeing it when you said like I know my path has definitely been different than others. Like you just lit up. You had this little like knowing smile there. Why don't you make that real for us? Like, can you help us see like in uh, I think what I'm most curious about is like in what ways has your path differed from like what people might have expected, especially if they know you really well. They're like one of the things that they find out, they're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I wouldn't have expected that. What's something there that shows up?
I would probably say for me, I'm very like quietly back to myself. It's very interesting because I've talked to people like I knew back in like middle school, and they're like, everything that like you are doing now or that I'm like on the path to doing, they 100% could see me have doing it like back then. Like, even if it's not like said, like, hey, I want to, own my own business, or hey, I want to start my own podcast. It's like, this is something that aligns with who she is just because of like how I presented myself then, how I continue to present myself as a person.
Yeah, so like what I'm hearing here is that like you've had deep alignment for you for a while now. Tell me here about what's something that they would say like, "Whoa, I didn't see that one coming." Like because what I'm hearing right now is there's an element that I call I say surprise but not unexpected. Surprising, but it makes sense. Right? Is there anything that you found recently or that you've taken on where they've also been like, "Wow, that was both surprising and unexpected." Just want to get a sense here. I'm curious.
I think mainly like just being able to do so many things like in the background. I think having knowledge of things that are not like right in their face. So like I went undergrad, I was originally going for like pre-med and stuff like that. So anything that's like outside of like that science realm, like people don't expect me to have knowledge about that. But like as a person that's like I'm a like lifelong learner, I love to learn. I learn about literally any and everything. So those types of things. So for example, I was talking to my friend about like getting licensed in financial services. Like I've known about financial services for a long time because as soon as I started getting my little check from undergrad, like I'm figuring out, okay, what are the things that you need to start doing in your early 20s to have that generational wealth or start, saving and stuff like that. So that's like a big thing for me that like I've been like learning about for the past 10 years that people don't expect me to know about because it's not in their forefront.
I love this here. So, and this is fun. Like, how have you been able to use any of that for what you're building with your personal brand right now?
So with business, that's like a big there. So understanding, what's the requirements to, run a business, deciding on like, do we do this because of just costs and to cut costs and be more efficient in that way? Or is there more to it? For me, a lot of everything that I chose with my brand, my skincare brand specifically, is very methodical, very intentional. So using glass packaging, using things that are eco-friendly or biodegradable, because my overdeveloping, like my master's is in chemistry, but the overall is actually in environmental science. So a little quote unquote tree hugger vibes there, but it's part of that sustainability that if I'm going to be putting something into the world, I want it to be worthwhile and I want to be able to not impact the planet in a negative way, but still put out things that are worthwhile, if that makes sense.
So does it make sense to you?
Yes.
All right, then yeah, that's all that matters. It's an interesting game I play here, right? Because um, whenever someone asks me if that makes sense, it's one of two ways I respond. It's either I'll check in with the sensations inside of my body and be like, like what senses am I getting? Oh, my hands are tingly, or I find like my body's a little restless. Like I'll respond that way, or I will just toss it back and ask, does it make sense to you? And part of the reason I do that latter one here is I find that one of the challenges is of being a trailblazer or being an outlier is like because we're doing things differently than what people might expect. Like there's also like this element of like, do you even get what I'm saying? Like not even do you even get like this is my thoughts. This is how I look at the world. I don't know if anyone else looks at it this way either. Does
Yeah.
this like what do
I'm
you
trying
make
to
of that,
help you
Adaure?
along if it's
Yeah.
like something that's gonna like, do you get where I'm coming from? If you don't get where I'm coming from, that's okay too.
Yeah.
But it's just like I understand that's one of those things that has disconnected me and also connected me to different people
Yeah,
for sure. So
tell me more about that. Tell me more.
so really it's honestly I would say most of my life having certain types of mindsets or conversations with people and it's just like why do you think like this? Like you're our age, like you grew up in the same town or you grew up, these parents or whatever, like why do you think like this? And it's just like I don't know. I do. It's like there's no other like explanation for it than like that is just like how I am and who I am. I think a really interesting aspect that's like visually that so my Facebook profile picture that's my profile picture has changed, but my banner picture actually has not changed. And it's so funny when I reflected on it earlier this year that I was saying to myself, that's interesting that like it hasn't changed like its meaning. And it's really just a group of people all in like gray suits and this one person, which is supposed to be me, or representative of me in this case, in a red suit and is just like be yourself kind of thing. And as long as like I put it up and I just, you don't really think about those things as much when you're younger. But I looked at it, I'm just like, wow, that's like still like so true to just like I'm not fitting in, but I'm okay not fitting in more so now because
Yeah.
it's led me to the success that I have and the happiness that I've had.
So this like let's talk a bit about that because I think like I have three distinctions around fitting in. I have like there's basically three different ways I look at it.
Mhm.
There's fitting in, fitting out, and belonging. So fitting in is okay, I see you. What do I need to change about myself in order to not rock the boat and be accepted? Right. Fitting out is that was like my like cup of tea for a very long time. I would wear like the brightest shirts. I would always be like the center of attention or the one like I'll be that guy, like pushing the boundaries in some way. But I was nothing like anyone else in that group. But like I kind of had like that guy was just like was like a title. Like, like I was like, oh,
Mhm.
he's not like us, but he's one of us because he does that
Yeah.
thing. He's the one that does that. And then it took me down this journey of really like getting to this place of belonging, and I realized like that's what this whole game has actually been about for myself here. It's everything to me, and I believe in the power of belonging.
Mhm.
And so the belonging side of it is like just is an element of knowing that no matter where you are, like you're solid, with like it's an interesting thing as I got into this, I realized I'm like, oh, I need to define belonging again for me. Right. I need to make sure to define belonging and see what that looks like in this context here, because underneath everything that happens at Outliers Edge, it's really just a movement of belonging and saying how can we belong to ourselves so that we don't have to feel lonely, and recognize that there's something really like and continue to contribute all of what we have to offer to people. But the number one thing being not our products, not our services, but ourselves, you know?
Mhm.
Curious what you make out of this. You got me waxing like philosophical over here, but at the same time, it's everything. It's a whole underlying premise behind the movement and all my actions.
For sure. For me, belonging has just really become making my inner me happy. And that inner me is more so my inner child. I know how confident I was back in fourth grade. I was doing any and everything. I was active in sports, school, like learning any and everything. And like I know it started from a very, very young age for me. Um, Part of it is like, I was in like gifted programs and but there was at certain points where like they're like, oh well, you don't need to be in gifted programs, like who are you kind of thing. And I was just like, well, if you're not gonna teach me, I'm just gonna learn my own. And I'm gonna be respectful of you because you're an adult. That's how I was raised. But um I'm not gonna stop just because you don't have what it is that's gonna take me to where I need to go. And a lot of my most recent years, like I would say like the past 5 years really, really even like from 2020, um, has been a lot of reflection into what does young me want? Because that's where all my dreams and aspirations really started, really dug deep. And I'm figuring out now how to actually achieve those things in any way, shape, or form. I knew from back when I was very young and I started having really bad acne, I'm like, I'm gonna have a skincare line because this is not it. My dad's not trying to buy no Proactive or X out on the TV for however many payments or whatever. We're not gonna do that. We gotta have something affordable. We have something natural. Like it needs to be starting from essentially where we started from the beginning. And for me, that is just feeding that inner child in any way, shape, or form.
So curious. Um, what's curious to me about that is I have to check in on it. Um, I've never thought of that as like a directional point. Like every once in a while, I'll come in and like be like, oh, what did 6 year old like Niiamah want? I can't even really remember, but I have some memories of things. But what I'm hearing you say is like one of your compasses in life is to like consistently check in with the inner child and be like, so what is it you wanted? Oh, okay, I got you. Skincare rent, like got you. We'll just handle that now. Thank you. You go back to playing. I'll go take care of that for you now.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Really big for me.
And did you come like I like to ask this thing here because um did you come from a skincare like background? Like are you like second or third generation
No.
skincarian?
So my mom was like she used to be a cop and she's in has her MBA, she does human resources. My dad did human resources. He has like his PhD and master's in like computer science, math and stuff like that. So they're both like an HR kind of vibe family. He has his like PhD in education kind of thing. I'm very different in that front. Um I have kind of what I originally called like the streamline to like do all sciences. So I have my bachelor's in biology, my master's in chemistry, and then I had like two associates, one in general chem and then one in chemical laboratory technology. So like I have all the little pieces to like get my own lab, build my own brand, build my own like corporation, like kind of vibe. I have the little bits and pieces just like stringing together. So I'm like, I know for me, it's like, yeah, you could have just gone, go to, undergrad, then go to dermatology school or something like that, or just go pre-med. It's like, no, that's not what I really want. Because one of the things for me is like, I'm really big on work-life balance and I like video games. And I knew being able to do that was not going to be I was gonna have to get with the video games, and that's really has been something that's grounded me, especially like to my family. Me and my brother grew up playing like Call of Duty, Halo, so like that's a really big point of contingency. Like that was not something I was gonna be willing to give up. As well as like the work-life balance. I gave up a lot, just doing the path that I did. But that's okay with me because I still got to do things quote unquote my way and still got to be happy with it, even though in some cases it was like, well, you're just kind of stuck here. This first thing didn't work out, so what's plan B? How are we going to pivot from here? It's like, well, I can pivot here or I can pivot here. And it's just like always having in your mind um, a point to pivot or a place to pivot from
Mm.
really does help you along your journey because, like, I know a lot of people, and I've advised my friends this as well, that Sometimes they'll get stuck on the, well, this didn't work out, so what am I supposed to do now? Well, I'm just like, before you get to that point, plan what your next step is going to be. Plan your next 5 steps down the line. So you know, if this doesn't work out, what's the next thing I could do? What else am I interested in? What does little me want to do? You have like your next 5 steps set up. So then when it comes to that time, then you know everything is hitting the fan. You're just like, well, let me do my little cry out for a week and a half and check back with you on Monday and we'll be on this next journey. Like that's just how I think about like doing things.
I love this. What were some of your more like spectacular like things? Like when I said that, it's talk about like having the cry outs and everything, like you and the different pivots there. What were some of the things that you took on that you were like, look, I'm invested in this. Like I really wanted to make this work, and then you realize like, oh, I have to like looking at this here, I might have to come up with my 5 step pivot plan. You know,
So the most recent one, honestly, would probably be pharmacy school. I went under the advice of my dad because like it was one of those things he's like, you still want to be a doctor, like you can do this, you can do PhD, you can do pharmacy school. It was something he brought up before. I actually went to like a school open house at my when I was doing my graduate studies, like the semester and a half before I graduated. And I was like, you know, pharmacy could be for me. There's some things that like they're talking about like that you can do with pharmacy that's actually what I want to do. But like being a pharmacist of itself, like I don't want to be in the pills, like I don't want to be retail, I don't want to be community. Um, but like there's other aspects of it that I liked because of the application of pharmacy. And I was like, okay, if I can get through like the coursework, then I can do the application of pharmacy. That ended up not working out. The first I don't want to say the first, but the second year I started having like difficulties in school for personal issues and problems and stuff like that. And I ended up not being in school because I failed some classes. And you only have, you know, 3 strikes max, and that the third strike is after you're able to come back. But I ended up failing 2 classes because of those personal difficulties and was out of school. And that honestly is when I started my business. I was like, well, I'm not just gonna sit here and do nothing. And funny enough, during that time, my granduncle had just passed that week that I came back to take my final.
sorry.
I found out literally the day after. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Um, I think it was the day after, and he passed from COVID. I had COVID, so I couldn't even like do anything else. I was stuck in my dorm, and I had to like move out because I wasn't in school at that point. And I was just like, well, what else am I gonna do? I saw a thing for this like women's networking thing. It's with I think it's Kaden Jacobs is her name, if I remember correctly. And like that was on the Wednesday. I literally joined it on that Wednesday and I had started planning my next move and I was like, okay, well I'm here to network because I'm not in school and that's what I was doing in school. So number one, got a network. Number two, okay, what's the next thing for me to do while I was over there? He was in South Carolina. That whole like week and a half between studying and getting a break, I was literally building my website. I was like, I don't know what it is, but like I have to do this now. Literally, I cannot wait. So like by the time I think it was January 17th, or Martin Luther King Day rolled around, my paperwork and stuff was filed. I had my business. The only thing left was just to make products.
You know, one, I really respect that like you kept making the moves, right? And I can see here where people be like even going down the pharmacy route to like make sense. And then you stepped off it. And but I'm also saying that you do things like with high intensity in a concentrated period of time, you know? And so you're like, all right, this is the path I'm going. Let me go create the website. Let me go make this happen. Let me go do all the filings so that I can actually go and play this game. It's actually really interesting, Adaure. You're taking me back to when I first started business, and it happened during jury duty, you know.
Mhm.
And it's like I had a week of jury duty. It was like the dude on the grand jury, and it was during the summer. Things were a little quieter, lots of vacations, and there was a lot of like downtime. You know,
Mhm.
I remember I was reading the lean startup and got my first like website done and learned everything in between the times that we weren't like you know we weren't asked to do anything, you know. And so yeah, so much can get done in just like a concentrated period of time, right? So tell us then here about, and now I'd like to bring that in. Like, you know, I'm talking to a client who was able to create one of her dream vacations, dream experiences in the span of a week. But she had been saying that she wanted to go and have it for years. She's like, I would love to go do this, you know. And then like in this one, like she had a prompt, she had a reason to do it, and in a week she created what she needed to create to go get on the plane and go have that experience. So I love that you're taking me to that like right now, right? So, Adaure, this is Outliers Edge, you know, and we're talking with trailblazers, and I want to get into some of the things that feel more edgy for you. So, why don't you share with us right now what's something that you're taking on right now that like kind of gives you sweaty palms, that gets you a bit both scared and excited at the same time? What's something that has you out on your edge right now of comfort?
I'd probably say right now I'm completing my MBA after like leaving pharmacy school. It was one of the things I already wanted to do while I was in pharmacy school, but I was just like, let me just marinate on pharmacy school. Like I'm doing quite a bit over here right now. So they do have it where you can do a degree program, but I was just like, let me slow it down. I didn't want to take my time doing my doctorate because I kind of was quick, fast with my previous degrees. Um, so I'm just like, what's gonna be the best course of action to be able to do that, you know? Um, and for me, that's really just, I don't know, it's just the edge for me is really just something that's, not expected in the sense of, for me, it was like, everything that I was going through, um, I don't think people thought one. I actually know this because I've talked to them after I went back to pharmacy school. A lot of people did not know the extent of what I was dealing or what I was going through. That was number one, first and foremost. Two, to be dealing with all that I was dealing with and still keep going, still keep creating, still keep going, like still having something like, because like for me, one of the things I learned very early on was the time is going to move whether you're doing something. So you can stay doing nothing or you can do something while the time passes. And for me, that's like been my main thing. I want to do something while the time passes. So if that means I'm crying my eyes out and making products, but I'm putting my passion into that, that's um like my edge to, I don't want to say really tunnel through pain or like heartache and stuff like that, but using it and molding it into something that helps give you drive, helps give you like that's coal for the fire versus in something that just kind of holds you back or keeps you in one place at a time.
Adaure, you are really fascinated. You know, you're really fascinating. I like this here, and the reason I say you're fascinating is, um, I just think it's you choose to go through life in a pretty cool way. You know, um, yeah. Sorry for your losses. They are like this, like it's not easy. Um, and I like this element of like something I get about this is that you take yourself really seriously at the same like you take what you do seriously, but you don't take yourself seriously. Like I feel like like look. Like there's work to get done here, but we can do it. We can still enjoy, we can still be in movement here. And I get that your way is your way. Like I kind of I have lots of distinctions because I think a lot about like the different ways people are different, you know. And something I feel like I get about you is like you have a maverick in you. And when I think about maverick, for me, it's like it's just independent of what else is going on, independent of what else everyone else is doing. Like you're like, well, I'm heading to the right. If y'all end up going to the right too, cool. Like I'll see you over there. You know, if all of y'all are going left, have fun. Like, but this is the way that I'm going through it. And yeah, I can imagine that also comes with its own sense of how wait, was that how right was that? Let me before I just like say that and be like and move on. Like, does that feel like it was pretty accurate? How does that
Well,
work for you?
I actually thought about this maybe like 2 weeks ago. So,
Mm.
you know, the analogy of the cup half empty versus cup half full. I
Okay, yep.
really thought about it and I was just like, I don't really feel like I'm either. I feel like it's like instead of it being half full or half empty, because I would say I'm more on the positive,
Hmm.
even going through negative kind of vibe. But
Yep.
I was thinking, I'm like, what if we just look at it as the cup is just full
Mm.
with what it is
Mm.
instead of it being half of anything? Why is it not just full as it is? And I think part of that like thought process came about when I was having a conversation with my friends about that need or that feeling to always go or always do more. Um, and I will say like generally in the Black community, like do see that quite a bit, especially within my peer group. Um, there's a lot of, well, you finished this, so you got to do this next. Coming from, Nigerian upbringing and stuff like that. Like I know African parents do that too. Like you finish this, okay, now do this. And I'm just like, why can't it just be like it is? Like why can't it just be? So I think even more so now that I've like reflected on that very recently, I would say that like instead of it being half full or half empty, I'm just looking at it as full for what it is right now. And then if something else can come in there, cool. That's full again. We're awesome. We're full again.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Um, Adore, like this has been a really fun conversation. This is really cool. Um, tell us here, like I want outliers to get to know more about like your brands, like what you're doing with your product. Like, so tell us a little bit more about that. Who's it for? How like I yeah, I got really curious about the business you have right now.
Sure. So my brand is You Oughta Care. It's a play on my name and it's also a play on words because you ought to care about self-care. Um, so we really just focus on creating natural products. Most of it is a really the breath of life of my life. I put my name inserted into there, Ada, which means first daughter, in Igbo. And it's really like my first child in terms of like a business. It's a fusion of the aspects of me that I may not have been able to fully embrace at any point in time, being fully Nigerian or fully American, because I'm not either. I'm Nigerian American. I wasn't born in Nigeria, but I have the citizenship. I will have other citizenships in another country. I have an immigrant parent. So I'm not fully American like everybody else. I have a different experience. And that is kind of what helped meld together my products and my creation of everything. So the names of my products are based on things that are dear to me in life. And they have the Igbo name and they have the American name as well. So the full name is really the Igbo and the American name, but you know, I say American, the English portion of it, it's the full name. But it's also a way for people to connect with me as a person and what I have for my brand because you understand the English portion because you can read in English, but then you also understand and learn Igbo by just utilizing the products.
Yeah, I love these like you don't do things on one level. Like you're like a
Mhm.
yeah, it's like you're a multi-dimensional like element. I love this because it's like folded in upon itself. There's there's a bit of grace and beauty that's associated with that, where you're like, well, here's the name of it. And you could buy my product, but I could teach you at the same time. You can feel it can be inclusive in some regards and educational in another part. And like, and it works and it's done naturally and like so on and so forth. So I think it's so awesome. I think it's so awesome that you got going on there. Yeah. Awesome.
Appreciate
Definitely. If any outlier wanted to get their hands on it, like where did they go to do that? And where did they go to like, continue the conversation with you, deepen the conversation with you?
So my skincare brand website is You Oughta Care, so YOOADA, so Ada Care, CARE.com. I'm reformulating products right now. I'm really excited for like this mini rebrand that I'm doing. Upgrading the packaging to go into the next level and then this reformulating because I do want to put out quality products. I don't want to just, put anything else out there. A lot of my stuff does have like, I get my shea butter from Ghana. So you already know. Like I want things that are from the motherland that are integral to like who I am as a person, and then like my roots of all parts of where I come from. In terms of overall, all things Adaure, so Adaure .wordpress.com is basically where I'm combining everything together. You can access the podcast, anything, skincare, everything is there.
That's awesome. I like, and you just came up and said, "I'm gonna learn how to do this." Like when you're like, I'm remixing everything, and you didn't use that exact word. That's what came up in my head. I'm like, you need to figure all this out. Like how do you even make skincare products? You're just like, all right, I'm gonna just learn that, and then I'm just gonna go do it. Now I'm gonna reconfigure it.
Yeah, just there are certain things like I was telling before. I'm just like I don't like how it's holding up a trend. So I don't like that it's not living up to what I want people to buy. So I'm just like,
Mm,
okay, that's just not going to be there anymore. I want something that
mm,
people are going to be willing to buy. I want to, for every single product that I have, I want it to be like, you should go and get this out. Absolutely. And
mm.
it's like, I can say that for my products, but if I don't fully believe in, I don't want to like sell people something that I don't believe in.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh, I love this. I love this. Well, thank you so much for this. Thanks for bringing this in. I like to end each conversation with a few things. One of them is an ask for any of you outliers listening to this to just go and share this with someone in your world. We don't use any like paid advertising or anything for this. The only way this show grows is through word of mouth. And so, what we like to do is just ask you to go and give the gift of sharing this with someone in your world here. So think of one person in your world who would really benefit from hearing this conversation. Just please go ahead and share it to me, the absolute world to us. All right. Adore, we're going to end the conversation here. And the way that I do is I like to think that outliers and trailblazers, they've gotten their outsights, right? The things that we can tell them. All right. Now I'm curious about your insights. What are some of the things that you are learning about yourself? What are some things that you're taking away from this conversation as we wrap up for today?
I'm really learning more about having those open conversations with myself, having those reflections, as I mentioned. Like there's like things I thought about before. I used to think, glass half empty or glass half full, and like just rewriting how I think about the glass in general is a big aspect of like what I'm doing to like continue moving forward in my life, as well as like constantly seeking happiness for myself. So a lot of times that does require, rewriting the norms of like what I have believed in before, or, what is like the standard um for happiness, or what you're supposed to do in life. And X, we need to do this in this way, or this way, this way, or follow this step, this up, this up. And it's like, if that's not what works for me, that's not what works for me. But at the end of the day, I want to say with my life that I live happily. I made a positive impact on the world. And that when I leave, I don't necessarily want people to miss me. And that I want people to feel like I'm still there in the work that I have done. So those are the main.
Yeah, no, that hits. That hits hard. That hits. It's really hard. Dory, thank you so much for being here, for living the life that you do, and for putting that like giving us a glimpse into it here on the podcast. I appreciate you. I'm excited for what you create. I'm excited for your pivots. I'm excited for people to get access to different things that you have and the different kinds of configurations and creations that that your life takes you through. Thanks for being such an awesome trailblazer.
Thank you so much for having me. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Love the conversation.
Well, outliers, until the next time we talk, remember this: go out there and be you on purpose. Journey on.